Alrighty, and we are live. What's up, everybody? We'll get getting everything set up, and we'll be ready to go. I didn't do the episode yesterday just because the trade deadline was yesterday, and I would have rather waited till after the trade deadline. But here we are with today's episode. Should be interesting. Sure. Yep. That's good. Hope your day's going well. Hope if you root for a team that you're rooting for a team that made some moves that are buying in for the rest of the season, not that selling. Let's see here. Okay. I also have a special thing for the episode this week. Sorta, I discovered this week, and I also realized something. Hold on. There's the email. Is there a link to the app? Studio. Screen. Immaculate. Almost close to being set up. Just getting certain things set up. I am back with intro outro, by the way. So that's officially back. Almost ready to go. Alrighty. Let's begin. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Benny and Booth Podcast. On this week's episode, we've got Immaculate Grid to the right of me. We've got MLB Weekly Recap. We've got the trade deadline recap, and more all coming up. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 86 of the Benny and the Booth Podcast. Thank you so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. One thing before we get into this week's episode, not sponsored, but I got a early access code to share with people for an app that I found through another content creator. Shout out to Cameron Gizmo, I think his name, or not, something like that. But it's basically Momento live sports scrapbook where you could keep track of all the sports events you've gone to throughout all the years, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, tennis even, and they're adding more here and there. And even have pictures. You could customize certain events. And I found this recently. It's a really cool app. I'm going to show it to you. Let's see. I just took it off share screen for a moment. But this is basically the app. So it has like my favorite teams. And then over here is some of the games I've been to this year and past years. It is very cool, great app. I would recommend if you go to a lot of sports events and you want to keep track of all the events you've gone to with a lot of pictures from events you've gone to, definitely check it out and use the early access code in the description, MOMENTOFAN, and you'll be able to access the app at the moment and not have to, as it is in early access. So go check out, get the access code in the description, go to the App Store, Google Play, whatever is for your phone that you use, and down the app, use the access code, and get the Momento Live Sports Scrapbook app today. All right, let's get into this Immaculate Grid. I just wanted to start with that, something new that I had for any episode. It's not really sponsorship. It's more of they just happen to have like given me that with me getting on the game. Okay, so let's get right into this. This is an Immaculate grid for today. Pirates, Rangers, Orioles from up to down, left to right, Royals, Marlins, and 100 plus RBI season batting. All right, let's get right into this. Okay, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Oh, I just thought of someone. Ensign Volquez was part of 2014 Pirates and part of the 2015 Kansas City Royals. 6%, not bad. Technically, he could have even used that for Miami. He did pitch for Miami and threw no-hitter with the Marlins, but all good. Okay, Pittsburgh, Miami now. I believe Neil Walker, I think, might have played there, but I'm not. Do I want to go Neil Walker, though? Is there anyone else? Oh, I realized someone else anyways. Corey Dickerson. 2%. Good find. Okay. 100 plus RBI season batting. Sturgill won an MVP, so he could have. McCutcheon won MVP, so he probably did. Though obviously, even if you win MVP, it's not a guarantee you had a 100 plus RBI season, but it's definitely a higher chance. You know what? I'm gonna go Sturgill because I feel like if he did it, it would be less of a percentage, and he did 17%. I'll take it. All right, Texas, Kansas City. Didn't Jordan Lyles play for both? I'm gonna hold off on that answer. Is there anyone from the 10 or 11 teams that played for both? Benny Molina, no. No, not Moreland. Kinsler, no. Could be had a 100 RBI season though. Andrews, no. Michael Young, no. Vlad Sr., no. Josh Hamilton, no. Dale Murphy, no. Nelson Cruz, no. I'm pretty sure he fits here, and I'm going to throw this in, but I could be absolutely wrong. And I was right. Jordan Lyles fits there. That worked out. Okay. Texas, Miami. Texas Rangers, Miami, or Florida Marlins. Palmeiro, I don't believe so. Oh, Pud Rodriguez. Probably the highest answer, if I had to guess. Rangers 100 RBI season. I imagine Josh Hamilton did it in his MVP year, and probably what it is, and probably highest answer. Okay, Orioles, Royals. Orioles and Royals. Baltimore, Kansas City. Perez, no. Hosmer, no. Moustakas, no. Escobar, no. Zobrist, no. Gordon, no. Kane, no. Rios, I don't believe so. Volquez, Cueto, no. Chris Young, Too many teams to even try and know if he did or didn't. Giordano, no. Kansas City, Baltimore. Oh, I know Hearn. 17%, not bad. Baltimore, Miami. I know Pedro Alvarez technically, I think, signed with Miami, but I'm not sure if he actually played any games at the big league level with Miami. I'm going to come back to it. I know Ripken won MVP. Palmeiro probably could have done it. Any of the Robinsons probably did. Any chance Brady Anderson did it? He did, 7%. I'll take it. Okay, so now this last spot. Baltimore, Miami. Baltimore and Miami. Who would have played for Baltimore and Miami? Baltimore and Miami. I mean, do I take the risk of Pedro Alvarez? Honestly, it's the best. It's like a giant risk. You know what? Risk it for the biscuit. This either absolutely works or absolutely fails. Did not work out. You know what? All right, I'll take it. 8 out of 9. Still not bad. Hamilton, Pudge were both top answers. Oh, Hearn actually was the top answer there. That's interesting. Santana, Marte, Clemente, Chapman, Rodriguez, Hamilton, O'Hearn. I did not know Jeff Conine played for the Orioles. And again, like the only team I synopsize Jeff Conine with is the Marlins, and primarily because of 03. And then Chris Davis. Yeah, Chris Davis makes sense for a top answer there. Who else that I know of could have had? Let's see. Is there anyone else? Jesus Aguilar. Yep, that's a tough one. Robert Andino. Did not know he played for Miami. Paul Baco. Yeah. Armando Benitez. Richard Blyer. That's a tough one. Bobby Bonilla. Yep. Cashner. Andrew Cashner. Okay. Wayne Chen. Alejandro De Aza. Yeah, I'm seeing a whole bunch of names I could have used. Nick Johnson, Charles Johnson, Ryan Lavarnway, Derek Lee. Yeah, basically there are a whole bunch of names. But you know what? I'll still take it. 8 out of 9 is still a pretty good day. I always try to shoot for full 9, but I'll take 8 out of 9. I've had better and I've had worse days. All right, so stop sharing with that. And now we could get back to this week's episode. So before we get into the headlines for news this week, of course, the trade deadline was yesterday, which was the reason why there was no episode yesterday. Let's go over some of the big trades. Justin Verlander is no longer a Met. He's going back to Houston, which is interesting since he just signed with the Mets in the offseason. They got like 2 random prospects in return. Max Scherzer is no longer Met either. He's going to Texas for Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother, Luis Angel Acuna. Jack Flaherty's leaving St. Louis for the Baltimore Orioles for 3 prospects. Paul DeYoung also leaving St. Louis, but for Toronto for Matt Swanson. Prospect never heard of. Michael Lorenzen going from Detroit to Philly for Heo Lee, a prospect never heard of. Scott Barlow going from Kansas City to San Diego for a prospect I haven't heard of. Josh Bell going from the Guardians to the Marlins after not even playing much of this year. A part of offseason moves with what's his face? Mike Zunino, who didn't last long in Cleveland, going to Miami for Gene Segura and Cleo Watson. I've pretty much sure of both. I think Watson got a future star card last year, but he's a prospect. Rich Hill and G-Man Choi going from Pittsburgh to San Diego for two prospects and a former Cub, now Pirate, Alfonso Rivas. The Mets traded Tommy Pham to the Diamondbacks for Jeremy Rodriguez. And not only are the Mets folding on this year, they're basically have come out and said that they're focusing on 2025, 2026, which not the best idea to be saying for Mets fans' sake. And I think that means Billy Epler, their GM, is going bye-bye. Yankees got Keenan Middleton. There are one very few moves they made at the deadline for a prospect. Jake Berger going from the White Sox to the Marlins for prospect. Andrew Chafin going from the Diamondbacks to the Brewers for prospect, which is interesting because Arizona's in and they have a good chance to win the division, and yet they're trading away one of their best bullpen arms, so they got an arm also. Rangers got Austin Hedges from the Pirates for international bonus pool money. Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds going from Miami to San Diego for Ryan Weathers. Brad Hand going from the Rockies, the Braves for Alec Barger. Phil Bickford and Alec Kolar going from the Dodgers to the Mets for cash. Ryan Yarborough going from the Royals to the Dodgers for Devin Mann and Darlin Figueroa. Red Sox getting Luis Urias from the Brewers for Bradley Blaylock. Rodolfo Castro going from the Pirates to the Phillies for Bailey Falter. Yankees also got Spencer Howard from the Rangers for cash. That's also odd. Alex Jackson. That's not really much of a name. Oh, Luis Patino going from the Rays to the White Sox for cash. There's some random trades I didn't even realize were made yesterday. The Cubs and Rays made a random trade that I don't even know what even happened with this trade idea. Cubs get random reliever prospect Josh Robertson for Adrian Sampson, who's been in and out of the majors, and Manuel Rodriguez, who's also been in and out of the majors, but even less so. Tucker, no, not really big name. Jace Peterson going from the A's to the Diamondbacks for Chad Patrick prospect. Sam All going from the A's to the Reds for prospect. Jose Cuas going from the Royals to the Cubs for outfielders, sort of prospect, sort of not. Nelson Velasquez. AJ Pollock going to the Giants along with Mark Mathias for a player to be named later. Cubs get Jeimer Candelario from the Nationals, returning to the Cubs for the first time since 2017 before he was traded in the Justin Wilson, Alex Avila, and turns out even Isaac Paredes trade for two prospects I hadn't even heard of before. Brewers get Mark Cannon from the Mets for prospect. Paul Sewald going from the Mariners to the D-backs for Josh Rojas, Dominic Canzone, who recently made his major league debut, and a prospect. Aaron Savali going from Cleveland to the Tampa Bay Rays for first Rays top hitting prospect at the time, number 37 overall, Kyle Manzardo. Crone and Grichuk going from the Rockies to the Angels. Crone returning back to the Angels. Grichuk returning to where he got drafted for prospects. Nicky Lopez going from the Royals to the Braves for Taylor Hearn. Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton going from Cardinals to the Rangers for two prospects and John King. Blue Jays get Jordan Hicks from the Cardinals for prospects. Kendall Graveman going back to Houston from the White Sox for Corey Lee. And there are a whole bunch. Oh, and one other trade I should definitely highlight. Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly going from the White Sox to the Dodgers for two prospects and Trace Thompson. Oh, David Robertson also for Mets to Marlins for prospects. And Carlos Santana from the Pirates to Brewers for prospects. Man, there were a lot of big trades. Basically, if you want a whole list of all the trade deadline trades, go to MLB.com and you can find an article with all the trades from the trade deadline. So let's actually get into the main part of this recap. Now, if you see the thumbnail for this week's episode, it is two Cardinals, and I could just wait till the end of the recap to get into it, but I might as well just get right into it. So, Cubs and Cardinals met over the weekend for a 4-game set. Cubs took 3 out of 4, and even were on an 8-game win streak at one point. That ended sadly. Sorry. Basically, Ian Happ was up with 2 outs, swings and miss, And on the back end of a swing and a miss on a 1-1 pitch, he hit Wilson Contreras on the back end of the swing in the head. Contreras left the game, but Happ even gave him a hug, and which was nice as former teammates. But then Michaelis merely hit him, and then very next pitch, first pitch after Contreras was taken out, merely hit Happ. Then the next pitch after that actually hit Happ. Now, generally with these things is you give warnings first, then you eject. And at the time, no warnings were given. And you know what they decided? Nah, screw the warnings. Miles Michaelis, you gone. Marmol for arguing, you gone. Cubs bench even mocked them both back to the dugout, which was ridiculous. I didn't understand it. And even as a Cubs fan, I'm saying this. Yes, I get it. He probably intentionally hit him by a pitch. But you got to give a warning first. The whole thing with it is you give warnings first. And you know what the funny part about it is? The Cubs scored 10 runs off the Cardinals bullpen to win 10-3. And even funnier is the catcher replaced Wilson Contreras. Andrew Kisner had a 2-homer game for the Cardinals, and all the Cardinals' 3 runs they scored that entire night. Whack. No other word I could put it. No other way I could put it. Marmol got suspended for a game. He sat out Friday night's game. Dakota Hudson officially suspended for 3. Not Dakota Hudson. Miles Michaelis officially suspended for 3, but 5 and a fine. But I think he might be appealing or might not be. But yeah, just wanted to address the thumbnail so you knew what was going on with that. Anyways, let's get into the rest of the weekly recap. Swanson 2-homer game with the White Sox. Cubs 7-3 win over the White Sox in his first time facing the White Sox with the Cubs. Mickey Moniak, after a defensive miscue that tied the game, hits game-winning RBI single, and Angels 7-6 win over the Tigers in 10 innings. Pete Alonso 2-homer game and the Mets 9-3 win over the Yankees. Bo Naylor 2-homer game and a 5-1 Guardians win over the Royals. Down 7-2 in the 8th. Mariners came back to win 9-7 versus Minnesota. First such comeback since September 27th, 1991 for Seattle on the road. Happ and Bellinger go back-to-back in the 8th following. Cubs come back from down 7-2 to win over the White Sox 10-7. Sandy Alcantara, complete game, giving up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts, and the Marlins 7-1 win over the Rays. Dylan Moore 2-homer game, and the Mariners 8-7 win over the Twins. Nolan Gorman in hometown Phoenix, Arizona had a 2-homer game, and the Cardinals 11-7 win over the Diamondbacks. Carlos Rodon finally got his first win as a Yankee, going 5 2/3, giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and the Yankees 3-1 win over the Mets. 7-run fifth leads Texas over Houston, 13-5, including Adolis Garcia grand slam home run, which even cleared the bench, which had a benches clearing moment with the whole bunch of things with it. Hold on one moment. Shohei Ohtani got his first complete game shutout of his career, giving up 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts in Game 1. And Game 2 had a 2-homer game, and Angels 6-0 and 11-4 W's over the Tigers in Games 1 and 2 of doubleheader. Bobby Witt Jr. walk-off grand slam home run off Johan Duran, his first walk-off hit ever for him in Royals 8-5 win over the Twins in 10 innings. I put Royals twice in the notes. Tim Anderson hit first home run since July 15th, 2022 again at the Minnesota Twins in a White Sox 7-2 win versus the Guardians. Josh Palacios on his 28th birthday hits 2-run walk-off home run in 6-4 Pirates win over the Phillies in 10. With 2-1 Royals win over the Twins, they get first sweep of the season. Cubs 7 home runs, first 7-homer games since 1977, and 20 runs in 29 win over the Reds, including Swanson 2-homer game, and Jeimer Candelario going for 4 for 5 with 3 singles and a double in his debut that also had an error. Nick Castellanos on his son's 10th birthday hit out a go-ahead 2-run homer against Miami in a Phillies 3-1 win over the Marlins. Spencer Strider reaches 200 strikeouts in a season in 123 and a third innings pitch, which is better than his own record. And Framber Valdez threw a complete game no-hitter yesterday, giving up 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and Astros 2-0 win over the Guardians. Kyle Tucker, 2-run single, was the only run of that game. And that is the notes part of this week's recap. For standings, there are some changes here and there, but not much. White Sox had a 6-game losing streak that was ended. They ended on a 2-game losing streak. The Cubs had an 8-game win streak at one point. That ended. They're climbing closer and closer to within division reach. And the Giants had a 6-game losing streak at one point, but that was ended. They ended on a 1-game losing streak. In terms of today's schedule, there are actually some games going on and some games that have gone final. In terms of the games going on right now, Astros are up 3-2 over the Guardians, top 7. Padres up 3-0 over the Rockies, bottom 4. Red Sox over the Mariners. Red Sox and Mariners are tied at 0, top of the first. That game basically just started. From Seattle, games have gone final. Braves over the Angels 12-5. Tigers over the Pirates 6-3. Nationals over the Brewers 3-2. And then in terms of games that are still going to be going on later today, Phillies and Marlins at 6:40, Rays at Yankees at 7:05, Orioles at Blue Jays at 7:07, Twins at Cardinals at 7:45, Reds at Cubs at 8:05, White Sox at Rangers at 8:05, Mets at Royals at 8:10, which ended on a walk-off balk yesterday, which I still don't understand the balk. Diamondbacks at Giants at 9:45 and A's at Dodgers at 10:10. That is this week's episode of the podcast, and this week's episode of the podcast. Let's wrap things up. Hold on 1 minute. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny and Louis Podcast. On next week's episode, we'll have the MLB Weekly Recap. Maybe the Pro Football Hall of Fame game, which is this Thursday between the Browns and the Jets, and Immaculate Grid, and anything else that could happen between now and then. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're new on YouTube, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification button for next time when I go live and or post a new video. If you are new on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, hit the notification button so you're notified when I post on there. Thank you so much for episode 87. Bye.